Alright, guys. So today I was seated just chilling in my house, and I thought, uh, let's just have a conversation on startups. And of course, see all these tech startups that come up, they are all built by, they are all started, most of them, they are all started by guys in tech, guys on how to program. Talk of Facebook was started by Mark, and he knew how to program. He wrote the first code, and any other social media application, like talk of Twitch. There is the Twitter that is now known as X. So and I've been wondering how can person grow a startup, like start a startup and then it ends becoming a unicorn. Like there's like a million people using it. So one thing is that I've come to realize is that you cannot build a complete big stuff at once. That's impossible. Because if you remember how Facebook started, if you've watched those videos, because at that time, person like me was not born. So I think it was back then in 2004. That time I was not born. So, and you wonder how it ended up becoming a very huge application, like topping the world as we talk, as the year 2025. It is one of the applications that holds a lot of people. Billion. I don't know, right now it's 7 billion or it's almost 8 billion. I haven't checked, but I will recheck after this maybe. But I know it's one of the applications that leads in terms of the people who are active there. So, and if you try to research on how it started like just a a university website, and now it's the biggest of the biggest. So what do we learn from that? You just need to start. I think so. You can just build something small, then go ahead. You go on scaling, adding new features, and you know it one day as you go as you continue scaling it small, adding some small features, you get to attract investors and things blows up. So that is what I can say, and that is what most startups do start. So there is no way you can just build a very huge stuff at once. Of course, you are just a solo developer, so you need to just get started, keep scaling as you have small users here and there. You get to count a lot of stuff. Maybe as one day you get your website is being someone hacks it. You get to check the vulnerabilities inside the website, and as you scale, yeah, you just need to scale. Just and another thing is about marketing. So when we talk about marketing, you see, another thing I'm realizing is that we are not the same year like 2004. A lot of startups were made or were created or were developed, the correct word to use, were developed between the year, let's say 2001 up to let's say 2010, let's say. Yeah, let's assume, because most of the big application, like if you just go around and start researching, you'll find most of them. But you have another application that are booming like TikTok, that was started back then, the year around 2017. So you see, but if you also go and research about this the guy who, the CEO. I don't know. The name is the name the founder. I mean, the guy who started TikTok. He also had other application. The name is so hard I can't pronounce it, but I know it's there is Zing. Zing. You know, I'm not from China, so sometimes the name is so somehow a little bit hard to remember the two names. But there is Zing, right? So yeah, and you'll find that the guy had also some other little startups, like he had a website where people could upload some memes, and also he created a blog which uses AI to be able to give back the people, give back the blogs people are interested in. So, uh, one of the things is that you just need to get started, and if you want to build something, it's not a it isn't a must that you get to build something big. You just need to build. We have a lot of startup that were built at that time, but they are not unicorn, but they are still generating some cash. They are still having monthly RRM is still there. Very, very good one that can sustain a developer, just a solo developer, be a self-taught developer. And yeah, some, running a startup is somehow hard than being in a job. You see, when you're having a job, you're not worried about when things go haywire, like when you said get hacked. You're not the one who's going to make losses. You might get fired, but you're not going to occur losses. You're not going to lose trust. You're not going to be, going to be jailed. No, maybe you're not going to be sued. Let's use the, the correct word. So you're not going to be sued due to data breach. So, but when you are the founder, you have to make sure that things are working well, people are organized, and that trains you hard, gives you some stuff on how to do, to be able to control very big startup way. So yeah, but sometimes it's maybe a lack or good marketing, because marketing is the key factor. Because when you take back to, I was talking about those years, there was no big social media. People are not on social media. But nowadays, people are on social media. So for your product to be known, it's either you spend a lot of money running ads, or you show up yourself and try to make content and market it. So as I am recording the video, I'm very, very introverted person. I just, I don't want like people to be in those big, huge groups, discussing with this and this, and it's very hard for me to open a camera to record, but I try my best. Try maybe I haven't recorded any video, but in terms of marketing, if I ever start up that I want to push, i I'm telling you, I will show up and I'll make content, because this is not like those years where you just had to be appear on TV, then people get to know you as startup. I don't know whether people nowadays watch TV, but even if they are watching, they are watching from somewhere else like YouTube. So, but you have to make content and showcase what you're doing, because another thing, a very hard thing to know is that you only have the time. Once I'm recording, I'm recording the video, and today's date, the 3 August 2025, and I'll never see this day again. So it's gone. Like it's gone. Like time runs. So when you are just waiting to start that thing, you might never end up starting, because you only have once lifetime. So you can't go back to be a teenager if you are an adult right now. So that's why you have to just get started. You might fail. You might things may happen. You might fail on your startup, but starting is one of the best thing, I think so. I have launched several startup, not startup, but projects, let's call it. Some have a lot of people. You try on how to monetize. I started coding back then, actually. And when you are in African countries, sometimes, gateway payments get it they are very hard. You may face challenges, and since you are just learning alone, you have no one to guide you. You might face challenge, so you might end up creating just a free site. But one thing is that just make sure you create, then you can't lack a way to monetize anything you want. So, but another thing is that you have to know, you have to get the skills. You can't. Sometimes you have to get some basic skills of tech. Even if you are using AI to build your startup, you have to know, like, anyone cannot just say that it's just wakes up. You don't know what ChatGPT is. You don't know what AI is. You just sees the website. You start using it. He creates. No. He has to. You have to start learning on how to use it so that you get it. But sometimes you might face in. Sometimes you are using AI as we talked in grade 5. Like, like you're trying to change the title. Let's say like this page here. So if like changing the title, if I want to change title here, these things I have not used AI, but maybe someone who has never coded, has never seen a code, will not be able to understand it. That's why getting the basics is very important, and getting the basics is very important because it will save you time. As we are talking of 2025, the AI is not that smart to build a complete system, a very huge system. But for the people who are know some basics of coding, can build those great systems. The only thing is that you have to be clever to also check on the area, study on the area where to validate the data to avoid anything to do with some people inserting some malicious code in your site. Maybe end up dropping the whole database. But just make sure you get started. Just make sure you get started. If you get started, you have some guys who, I remember there is a article I was reading. There is a guy who started like a website back then, and he was just 15, and the guy now is living a good life, is having something to sustain him because he sold the project. But talking of it, that project, it might have had a lot of vulnerabilities, but once you create the products, the idea is the difficult thing, because you have great developers who only choose to just work for the big companies. Yeah, and they get paid, yes, but again, getting idea is very, very, the idea matters. And another thing is time matters. As you are in maybe 15, 16, 17, 18, or maybe you are in 20s, so one thing is that just make sure you start building, because let's say now you are around 60s and you want code, to build your product. One thing is that you have someone who's depending on you. You have some, you have like three maybe like children. Then you can't just risk to fund a startup, which may be your own startup. You can just get into coding, leave the job you're doing, and get all into it, because at the end of the day you have to provide. But right now, maybe you're in 20s, no one is highly depending on you that much, but some are highly dependent. You you just make sure let's say they like 16, 17, those guys are not dependent a lot, so no parents are dependent those guys, so you can go into it all in all, like you just go into it and make a good product. So let me just end the video there. So we just talked about the startup. I'll be showing you some projects that I built, and I'll keep showing you the project that I will build, and that I'll still share my journey on how we are. And any project comes on my way, I'll still update you on how I did it and how the performance of it is. Yeah, so with that being said, hope you guys, you have a good day. Peace. Let me just end the video there. I don't know whether it was recording, but again, before I forget, make sure you subscribe, and like, so that this video gets recommended to more and more people. and they get to listen and to know more about the startup. Otherwise, guys, I love you so much.